Hello, everybody, and welcome to our new episode of the Female Gentle Leaders podcast. And today I'm here with an amazing guest, Lauren Taylor. Is a founder of Lauren Ray Coaching, and she's a nutritional coach, as I would say, but she will tell us more about it. And as she works with female owners and corporates, she helps us all to feel better, to even, I think, feel less stagnant and tired and feel good in our bodies. And today we want to connect it to our work experience because what we eat, what we drink, how we sleep, how we take care of ourselves is really mirroring how we can really work and enjoy our days. So thank you, Lauren, for being here. And can you tell us, please, more about what are you doing with your clients, how you are supporting them?
Yeah, thanks, Polly. Thanks for introducing me. Yeah, I think you've summed it up quite nicely there. I'm a nutrition coach, I'm a corporate nutrition consultant, and I really stepped into this space because I realized how much our nutrition and our diets actually impact us day to day. And I think we overlook it quite a lot. We eat particular ways because it's how we've been conditioned, or it's because that's what everyone else is doing around us. And we don't always actually think about how it's affecting our bodies and our minds and how we feel day to day. And the thing is, how we feel affects how we can show up. And so that affects us in our work, in our businesses, even in our personal lives, in our friendships, in our families. So it's really important to understand, I think, the impact that foods have on us. It's something that is different for all of us. Some people have allergies, intolerances, other things that they need to be mindful of. Some of us just process and metabolize some foods better than others. So sometimes it's understanding what works for us. And I really I really love nutrition as a tool to make us feel our best and to make us feel strong and empowered and like we can take on anything because, you know, business is hard, right? So we want to make sure we're at our top all of the time so we can take on the challenges that come our way.
That's true. That's true. We need our good food for us to feel energized, right? And not like, oh my God, I'm dying. I can't do anything.
Yeah. And the thing is, right, I mean, how many times do we wake up and we think, oh my gosh, I'd rather stay in bed? Like, how many times do we get to 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon and we're like, oh my gosh, I'm like so hungry, or I'm so tired, I need another coffee to get through the day. And actually, what we eat has so much impact on that. And we could actually have so much influence over how we feel and create more energy and feel good throughout the day and into the evening just by making some little tweaks and manipulating something that we already do every day, just manipulating it slightly so that it can boost our energy and make us feel really good.
And I really like, as you say, like manipulating it slightly, because I think that when we imagine, like, okay, I need to change, we are often afraid of a big change, of us suffering from like not good food, maybe even, or being forced to eat something that we hate. Like for me, it's broccoli. Sorry, I can't.
Broccoli is one of my favorites. How could you say that?
I like Brussels sprouts instead. Like I know most of people hate them. I love them. So I think it balances my hate towards broccoli,
Brussels sprouts just as good.
right? So this is exactly what I love about your work, that it's deep, but still it doesn't make your clients fear the change. And this is my question about it. What is the moment when the clients often come to you? what is that moment when we like feel, okay, now is Lauren time. I need Lauren now.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, there is a lot of fear, and I think a lot of the time people get to that point of coming to work with me or seeking that extra support and help because they've struggled for so long, and they're trying these things, like you say, the foods that are not nice maybe, or maybe it's a lot of restriction. They feel like they're cutting back and cutting back and cutting back, and not really making any progress. And it's in those moments where you start to feel desperate. You feel like no matter what you try, you can't feel good. And I mean, I know that, and it is one of the reasons I started doing this work, is because I was that person. I was in that place where I was struggling to get out of bed every day. I had quite a lot of illness and symptoms at the time, issues with my gut. I was suffering with headaches, but mostly I was just so fatigued, and I was depending on caffeine to like keep getting through. I felt awful, but I still wanted to show up at work, and I just kept pushing through. And I got to that place where it was I can't say anything other than desperation. I couldn't figure it out for myself, and I needed someone to help me. And I think that's sometimes where a lot of people get to when they come to work with me. But I really love it when people can come to this point before this stage, because it always takes something quite difficult and serious, I think, to trigger change. There always has to be this catalyst that is quite deep and difficult. And I wish we could understand the benefits of changing our diets. And like I say, it doesn't have to be eating the horrible foods, it doesn't have to be the restriction. It's none of those things we think it is. But if we could just add some things that would boost our energy and eat in particular ways that can make us feel good, and feel like we can make it through the day without having to rely on that caffeine or struggling through, then we're capable of so much more. We can put so much more into our work. We can put so much more into our relationships, into our lives, if we get to that point before we get to that difficult place.
Thank you for that. And yes, I think the worst or the hardest part about being human is that until we don't struggle, we still think that there's enough time and there's not the time to do the change. And you know what I do? I do the same with business, right? So with me, business owners come to me when they struggled enough. So as you were telling it about the nutrition, for me, it felt like, yeah, that's a mirror of my client too. And I feel always the same. Like you don't need to burn out. You don't need to struggle before we can change it. But still, it's in our nature maybe to do it like first way, like do the hardship and then change, and then we don't need it anymore, right? But I wanted to ask you, what was your journey? So you already know it started with the struggle. So how did you come to be such an amazing nutritional coach as you are now? What were the important parts of your story?
Yeah, I think, there's some really key things for me, that kind of led me particularly to doing the work that I do with businesses now. There's other parts of it that led me to just working in this nutritional and well-being space, as it is. But I think, if I look back to my early career, that's kind of what started the journey, I guess, started the path. I didn't know this is where it was leading then. I was someone that didn't really see my potential. I probably, I had lots of big ideas, and I wanted to grow my career, and I wanted to develop and become a leader, and I wanted to be a change maker, and I had all these big thoughts. But the the person that was in my mind and the person that, I was actually becoming in my career were very different from each other. I didn't have much confidence in myself. I didn't really have any belief. Those visions that I had of kind of what I wanted to be doing, I thought were someone else's journey. I didn't really see myself on that path. So, I went through my career and I did okay, but I never really got to those things that I really wanted. And, it was only when my health got really bad. Like I say, I'd had headaches from childhood. I remember going to the doctors. I'd always suffered with them. And I was just constantly, I'd literally wake up and take painkillers, just anticipating that I would have a headache. And then, my gut health started really deteriorating, and I was just so fatigued all the time. I was in pain all the time. And I was getting to a point where I just didn't want to get out of bed anymore. And that really was the turning point where I was like, I need some help with this. Like, I can't get the answers to this on my own. Now, obviously, I went and worked with a coach who helped me to understand my body and understand nutrition and understand the foods that I'd been eating that were making me feel worse, the foods that I could be eating to make me feel better. And really, again, like understanding how to manipulate that. Now, I obviously wanted to fix my health, but I didn't anticipate how that was going to change my mindset. As I started to feel better, I started to grow this confidence and find these beliefs in myself. And I really started to connect back to those parts of me that I'd always wanted to become. And I started thinking about these things again, but I started actually being able to like take action forward. And that was when I realized how powerful nutrition actually is for us in creating the lives that we want, in creating the businesses that we want, and really being able to empower ourselves to our full being and our full potential. So that was then obviously what set me on a path to getting my certifications, starting Lauren Ray coaching, and moving into this coaching space that I'm in now. So yeah, I think there's different parts throughout the journey, I think, that have led to it, but there's some really key pivotal moments that I think have really shaped the work that I do and why I think it's so important.
And I think we are all grateful that you felt the desire to learn, not only use what you needed, but you really learn so you can then share your story and your expertise, right, with the clients and with the corporates. And what do you feel? And now let's dive in more in the elevation of our work experience. What is the maybe one or two or three things that you change mostly for your clients? What are the three things that are often in need of a change?
Yeah, I think that's a really
I'm
great
trying to
question.
create that question, right? I just felt it there.
Yeah, I think it's really great. Now, I do want to start by saying, it can look different for everyone. So it's really useful to be able to understand and connect in with yourself and what works for you. But I think, some of the things that are probably the most common that I work with people, first of all, is eating more. This is a great one. Everyone loves this because particularly as women, we've grown up with diet cultures and a lot of pressure around our weight and our body shape and size. And we've been taught that, you need to eat less and less to look a certain way. And I mean, I think for the first 25 years of my life, I associated being slim with being healthy, and they don't always go hand in hand, right? So I was always striving for this weight loss, and it's the same thing I see with lots of the people that I work with, is that they're striving for this weight loss, but that doesn't actually always equal healthy, and people end up feeling very fatigued, feeling really depleted of energy, because they're not actually providing their bodies with the resources that they need to feel good. They're not, I mean, we're taught, I think we've been taught to fear a lot of foods. Carbs are bad, fat's bad. Your body relies on these. Your body needs them to function and feel good. So if you're completely restricting this stuff all the time, you're going to feel a bit rubbish. And so many people, when we start working through the diet, what I tend to do is get my clients to do a food diary for a few days. Then I can take that and break it down and analyze it and figure out kind of what you're eating for your energy needs, what you're eating in terms of, the nutritional values and qualities of it. And one of the most common things I see is that people just aren't eating enough. So that's one of them. Another one, and I think this
I
one's
already
really,
love it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
sorry to
see?
interrupt you. Like, yeah, eating more. It's exactly what even my friend told me when I was
Yeah,
gaining weight. She said, eat more, like eat more.
yeah.
And I said,
It's
yay, I'm eating
yeah.
more.
And obviously, it's about eating the right foods as well. I mean, I'll come to that in a second, but it's like you say, there is this fear, I think, when it comes to diet and nutrition, and I think I struggle to say the word diet sometimes, because I think it's got such negative associations with it. But there is this fear, and we don't actually have to fear it when we can understand it. There's just so much misunderstanding that makes it difficult. So the second thing I would say is drinking enough water. Really something that's really underestimated. I know so many people are like, I just don't like water. I don't want to drink it. I mean, teach yourself to like it, because it's really going to play a part in how you feel. If you're not drinking enough water, your body quite quickly is going to be like, oh, I need to preserve what I've got here. And it's not going to be able to function as you want it to. So it's a really simple one. I think I've got my water here. I've always got a bottle with me, so I know that I'm drinking enough. And I learned that, if you feel thirsty, you're already on the way to dehydration. So you shouldn't ever really feel thirsty. So if you're at that point right now, please go and drink a glass of water. It will definitely make you feel a lot more energized. It will definitely make you feel better. And then, the third thing, I said I'd come back to it, is eating the right foods. Now, I really don't believe in restriction. I don't believe that, any foods need to be completely off limits, but I do think we need to change the balance, perhaps, of what we're eating and how we're eating it. And one of the things that I always say is to think about what you can add rather than what you can take away. And when I say think about what you can add, I'm talking about how we can increase the nutritional value. We know there's lots of different vitamins and minerals. There's, water is a nutrient. There's all these different things that our body needs. And if we are eating the same foods all the time, now I am a lazy cook, and I'm so set in my habits. I eat the same thing for breakfast every day. I eat the same thing for lunch most days, but I understand what foods I need to be including. So I make sure my foods incorporate all these different things. But if we're constantly eating the same things every day, Polly, give me an example of a meal you eat all the time.
Right. I have a cook, so she cooks different meals every week.
Ah,
But I like my breakfast stable. So I need a piece of bread, some ham, cheese, and vegetables. I know that I can't eat sweet breakfast.
ah, okay, brilliant example. Okay. So you've already got in there. So it sounds like you've got a piece of toast, so you've got some carbs in there, you've got some cheese, so you've got some fats in there, great. You've got some ham, so you've got some protein in there, great. And you've got some vegetables or some salad with that. So fantastic. So that's a really good example of how you could include different foods. So say with the vegetables, for example. So take this example. So you've got the toast with the cheese and the ham, and then you're just having that at the moment. You haven't added the vegetables.
Okay,
The
okay.
next step would be to add some vegetables. Okay, so Polly's probably not going to add broccoli, but she might add some sprouts on the sides.
Cherry tomatoes, like more, or cucumber.
Okay, so say you're having the cucumber, you could look at that and go, right, okay, what can I add to make this even more nutritionally dense for me? How can I add more nutrition to it? So then you'd think, okay, I'll add some tomatoes, I'll add some seeds maybe if you're having a salad on it, some nuts or seeds onto the salad, because the more variety you're getting in the foods that are on your plate, the more nutrition you're going to get. Obviously, different foods have different nutritional values. They have different functions in your body. So the best way to make sure you're getting all of them is to make sure you're eating a little bit of everything from different food groups, right? Different colors. As I say, nuts and seeds are some of my favorite things because you can sprinkle them onto your vegetables, you can sprinkle them onto your salads. I have oats for breakfast every day, so I add them to my oats. And it's something that a lot of people aren't having right now. So it's one of those simple things that you can just add in that's gonna bring you more value. And then what that does, particularly if you're adding vegetables and fruits and things like that, that supports your gut health, which has been shown to be really closely linked to your brain health. So that supports your cognitive function and again, your focus and concentration in the day.
That's amazing. Yeah. And I always even think, okay, what do I spread on it or what do I add? So I like the hummus or the guacamole, that it adds taste, right? And color, as you said,
Yeah,
and other
fantastic.
nutrients.
Yeah, so
So yeah,
you're already doing it. Yeah, it's a
I'm
perfect
trying, I'm
example.
working on it. And what I like, and I saw it today again in your stories, are your road trips and your snacks on the road trip. Because I think the snacks, mothers and business owners, right? And when we are at work, employees, is sometimes even worse than breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? The snacks in
Yeah,
between. For
yeah,
me, it's torture. Like when I don't think about the snacks, I'm just always going around hungry
yeah.
and looking what can I eat there. So as I saw today your story with your road trip snack, what are your favorite snacks?
Yes, I love this question. So, yeah, I mean, I one of the things that I absolutely hate is like on a long road trip. So, yeah, you've just seen I've been living in France for 3 months. I've just traveled back to the UK. So, I just arrived back yesterday. So, I've had a lot of long hours driving from the south of France all the way back to the UK over the last couple of days. Um, and one of the things that I can't stand when I'm on the road is, you pull over to the service stations and you go in to get some food, and sometimes the selections aren't great. You might get a McDonald's or, there's lots of fast food. It's always really overpriced as well. And then I'm like, oh, I'm spending all this money on food I don't even want to eat. And then it's that same thing. And then I feel rubbish the rest of the day. So I've really learned to prepare stuff that I take with me. And it's something that I really encourage people to start thinking about. It does take a little bit of preparation, but it's so worth it to know that you've got that food on the go. Things that are really easy to make. I think probably what you saw on my story is like an omelette slice or an egg slice. So, it's so quick and easy. Crack some eggs into a pan, scramble them up, add whatever you want. I think I had some salmon fillet, I had some courgettes, and I had some spinach in mine. But again, you put in what you need, make it colorful, make it, it doesn't have to be those foods. It can be whatever food you like. Add some chicken, add some, different vegetables, different colors. And then, you just cook it up, slice it up, put it in a zip bag or put it in a lunchbox and take it with you on the road. Things like overnight oats, again, really quick to make the night before. Put some oats in a jar, add some milk or water, plant milk if you prefer, add some fruit on top, again, add some nuts and seeds on top maybe, twist the lid on, and it's ready to go, to pick up and take with you in the morning. And these are, they're great in the car, they're great for work, great when you're even out and about. Again, sometimes if I'm going out and I don't know what food's going to be available, I don't want this to sound like I don't ever eat out or go out for meals or enjoy other food. I absolutely do. But sometimes, if I'm away for like a long weekend, I don't necessarily want to eat out all the time, where I don't know how the food's been cooked and what oils they're using and things like that. So we'll prepare meals that I can take. So yesterday's trip, I had omelette for breakfast on the road. And then again, really easy, cooked up some rice, cooked up some fried some tofu and some vegetables together. And then I had that I could take with me, that I just had cold in the car. And I mean, I like spicy food, so I add chilies and soy sauce and things that make it taste great, but still keeps it just really simple and easy to make. So yeah.
I really love it. Thank you, Lauren. And I feel what we talked about today is all about just conscious eating, right? Conscious think, what am I putting in my body? Because I don't know if we forget, but we maybe don't prioritize the meaning of whatever I'm putting in my body. It's the only fuel I get
Mm,
for my entire life, right? For
yeah.
my nervous system, not only for my like I'm looking how I do look, but it's really everything that my body needs for my functioning, for my thinking, and as I said, nervous system and everything. So
Yeah.
yeah, the snacks are a great topic. I think we all need to consciously just think about what I'm buying, what am I cooking, when will I be eating it, what are the next days looking
Yeah.
like, right?
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Yeah. I think so much of it is just about raising our awareness in ourselves. Like, your body does so much for you, and you should know how to support it. Now, we're not really, I mean, like I say, like I never thought of my diet in terms of like actually what my body's doing and how my body works for me until I was like in my like late 20s. All I'd ever thought about my diet was how I looked and the size of my jeans. But it really does matter. And much like what happened for me, the headaches, the illness that I was suffering with, that all disappeared once I started to understand what I was doing. My diet, prior to this, really heavy in processed food, really heavy in alcohol as well. I mean, there's other things going on. I didn't sleep a lot. It all fed into each other, right? But I felt that way. My body was sending me the signs that it was like, what are you doing? Like, help me out here. But I didn't understand that then. And I think sometimes it's not even that we don't understand, it's that we have so much going on in our worlds. We can't make time for it, or we just don't give ourselves that space to check in with ourselves. And we tend to put everyone else
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, and I even see that we feel like there's no space to break the cycle because it's a cycle, right?
Yeah,
If I get more caffeine, then I get even more tired after it stops
yeah,
working, right? So
yeah,
then I eat or get more
yeah.
caffeine, and that's a cycle, right? And we, for me, for example, what I saw in myself, not with the caffeine, because I'm really sensitive for it, but the cycle of children, work, the day, and when can I stop, break the cycle, and start
Mm,
changing it, right? There was, as you said, there's never enough time for ourselves. There's always something outside that is more
yeah,
important. So I'm glad we could talk about it here together. And just even this can really change a lot, right? Even just
yeah.
looking, okay, Lauren told me this. Let's check what I'm drinking. I have my bottle always with me. Not now, like I couldn't find it before we went live. But I'm the same. I always have my bottle with me. So, Lauren, thank you so much for being here. And my last question before we wrap it up is what do you feel? I didn't ask. What is just needed here to be said?
Oh, yeah. I think, I think when we break it down, it can be really simple. I don't think, yeah, as soon as we think of nutrition, we think, oh, it's really complicated, and I don't have time, I have too much going on, it's really expensive. We start to have all these ideas in our head. But when we actually understand what nutrition really is, it can become really simple. And things that I've mentioned today, like drinking water, that's going to go a really long way. And it doesn't take any planning, it doesn't take any preparation. You buy a bottle of water, or if you have access to it, you can take it from the tap and it's there to go. And small things like this are going to make the biggest impact. But I really think it starts with checking in with you. And again, coming back to this timepiece, like if you're running a business and then you're looking after a family, and then you probably have a ton of other responsibilities as well, you're thinking, yeah, I don't know where it's going to fit in. But even just like for 5 minutes, just to stop, um, at the start of your day, at the end of your day, in the middle of your day, whenever you feel like it, whenever you can just fit in, just stop and think, how are you feeling? Because your body does send you these signals, and it's only when you start to recognize it and catch yourself in those moments that you can start to change how you respond to that and start taking actions that are going to make you feel better.
That's a great thing to do, right? Just a few minutes, stop, breathe. I love it. And yeah, I like it. I like to do it too when I remember. So thank you for making us remember, right? That it can be this simple. The start, the break of the cycle can be this simple. And yeah, our bodies just know best, right? If we
Yeah,
learn to listen, our bodies
yeah,
will tell us everything they need.
they really do.
Thank you. Thank you, Lauren, so much. And thank you, everybody, for being here with us. And don't forget to follow. And yeah, let's see each other on the next episode, or with another guest, or just with me in my solo episodes too. So have an amazing day, everybody. And thank you, Lauren, once again for being here with us.